Come on, let's get it. As one, Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork that you will not get anywhere else. Let me address a couple things as we are in the first day of March. We got a lot of news going on. We got the NFL Combine happening. We got college basketball getting ready to get heated up with March Madness. And of course, we have the NBA drama. All right, so recently, a couple of weeks ago, and I think I did actually address this when Wembanyama, Victor Wemby, went out for the season, where Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves, explained that he doesn't want to be the face of the NBA anymore because, LeBron's time is coming to an end. And he was like, that's what Wemby's going to be there for. And then I think it was yesterday or sometime this week, LeBron actually chimed in a little bit on that conversation when he said, look, why would you want to be the face of a league when the people who've been covering the game, who cover the game on a consistent basis, are always shitting on the players and telling just basically being negative and things like that. So you got that drama going on. And then you got the conversation going on with the NFL draft because the projected top picks have played on the same team for the past 4 years, which is Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, and both of them are at the NFL Combine. But for some reason, which I don't get why they're even there, if they're not going to compete, makes absolutely no sense as to why you're going to just be there to be there. But again, that's another conversation for another day. The debate has been, should Travis Hunter go both ways, or is he going to be good enough to go both ways, or Shedeur Sanders a top 5 pick? All that conversation is happening as we speak, and you got to be careful with what you say about Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, and you got to be careful with what you say about LeBron James, because if you don't put him as the best player ever to play, then that means you're hating. Or if you don't, if you don't recognize the greatness of Travis Hunter and recognize the greatness of Shedeur Sanders, if you make any sort of criticism towards them, all of a sudden you're a Coach Prime hater and all that kind of stuff. And I'm tying both of those situations together for a reason, because it is not an individual's fault that this is the narrative that gets played. It's simply this. Here it is. It is social media simply just changed everything. Social media has given people a platform to talk a bunch of nonsense, to give their 2 cents, again, when I say people, I don't mean just, Joe Blow or John Doe who doesn't know anything about the sport. We're talking about former players, Hall of Fame players, educated, syndicated journalists, people who went to school and this is their lane, and they're talking and giving their opinions and not actually giving facts and not actually speaking on what's real and what's not real. And the reason they're doing this is because instead of actually providing and putting out the information in an objective way, they're putting out the information in an opinionated way, because their opinion is what's going to get the likes. Their opinion is what's going to get put out on social media. Their opinion on what this one said and what that one said, that's what's going to lead to the engagement on social media. And then these major companies, the ones that actually own it, the people that actually own ESPN, like the Disneys of the world, the people that actually own Fox News, the ones that own the Front Office Sports or Barstool or whatever the platform is that these people are putting their podcasts on, or the people who own YouTube, they're just getting the engagement. Their language is how many likes, how many views, how many specific engagement, how many comments am I getting, all that kind of stuff. So the truth is, and this is why, again, I do the work I do, and why I was kind of fell into the public speaking game and fell into the game of giving my thoughts and giving my opinions, because when it comes to sports, I know what the hell I'm talking about. And I'm telling you, and I'm going to address both these situations, Travis Hunter is not the first player to have gone both ways, to have the ability to go both ways. In fact, the team that he might be going to has a head coach in Mike Vrabel who's done the same thing, but it didn't get this level of conversation because he didn't play for he didn't play for a coach who also did the same thing and went both ways. And he didn't, if you really think about it, back on those Patriots teams, there was a guy named Troy Brown, if I'm not mistaken. He used to go both ways. He played some receiver. He did a little bit of slot nickel. So whether he does a great job in the NFL and going both ways, or he doesn't, the conversation that's happening is already making it so he's operating behind the 8 ball, because they're making it seem like he has to be perfect. He's unbelievable talent, a great, unbelievable talent is Travis Hunter, but there's some plays where he didn't make the right decision. There's some drops I've seen. There's some things that's happened where he can improve on, like every single player that's in the draft, but unfortunately, he has so much of this conversation going on, and it's the same story with Shedeur. Incredibly talented player. Are there some things he can improve on? 1,000%. But because so many people are talking about it, and there's actual shows and things that are dedicated to this, and social media chimes in, and these legacy media folks are chasing the clicks and they're chasing the likes, unfortunately, they're putting these kids in the limelight, and they're not ready for it, because ultimately they're ruining the career before it even starts. Just let them develop, right? So that's the Colorado, that's the Shedeur and Travis take. Now, when it comes to LeBron and what he said, the issue is, and I think Brian Windhorst nailed it. I watched First Take when Brian Windhorst, Gilbert Arenas, and Stephen A. Smith addressed this. I think Brian Windhorst, so Stephen A. Smith's argument was, oh, well, it's the NBA players' fault that it's like this because of, the load management, the flopping and all that. And again, I've been on record 1,000% in agreeing with him. What's turning off the casual fan is all the flopping that we got to see and all the crying for fouls and all that kind of stuff. So again, Stephen A. Smith, 1,000% accurate in his take when it comes to what LeBron said. But Brian Windhorst, I think he nailed it when he said the issue is you're both right. LeBron is right, and so is Stephen A. Smith. The issue is you're both right, and neither one of you own these media companies that is putting out this information. And the truth of the matter is, it's the fact that social media now gets to chime in on who's better between LeBron and Jordan, and that becomes the conversation. That's the conversation that's making it so LeBron has reached $1 billion. All right, that's the conversation that's making it so people are talking about that, and that's what's getting the likes and getting the clicks and getting the views, and ultimately being able to generate dollars to the game that were just unforeseen, just FU type money to the game. And at the end of the day, the issue is both of them are right. And the conclusion that needs to be brought up, the conclusion, the thing that needs to be taken away from all this is you got to go own your shit. Go own your IP, own your property, own the thing, your intellectual property, own it, and then go out and build your own audience, so that way you can control what goes out, you can control the messaging, you can control how things come in and how things go out and all that. When you develop control and you go for control and not for views and likes, then on the back end you're able to develop the business and the organization that you want, and not what somebody else wants and how somebody else wants to push their own narrative, right? That's the takeaway from it. So all that being said, main website to check out to dive deeper into everything I'm doing, it's makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one, Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.